I wasn't expecting a part 2, but I need more fun episodes of The Lord Speaks, and if there's any characters that I've left out, make sure you check out the original video. So without further ado, let's crack on! So let's start with the Red Lanterns, in which represent rage. And I want to avoid using all the Hulk-like characters because they're way too obvious. And since I used Wolverine last time, I'm gonna avoid using Wolverine characters like Sabretooth or what have you. So instead, I'm gonna go for Drax the Destroyer. And the reason why I go for Drax is that he was reborn to be the embodiment of vengeance and rage. Drax's pure purpose in life is just so that he can kill Thanos. Not only that, Drax is a very violent character who uses rage as his fuel. Not to mention that Drax is a very tortured soul, so it makes all the sense in the world if he becomes a Red Lantern. Next we get to the Orange Lantern, in which represents greed. The majority of the Marvel villains could really be an Orange Lantern because of how greedy they are, however I think that Dormammu takes the cake for this one. And the reason why I go for Dormammu is purely because he wants to be the most powerful being in the universe. And despite how Dormammu rules the Dark Dimension, he wants to rule more than that, and he wants to rule Earthrealm and all sorts. Dormammu is always so power hungry, and at the same time he always wants to rule everything, so that's why I think that Dormammu is the perfect Orange Lantern. Now we get to the Yellow Lanterns, in which represents fear. And hands down, I think that Annihilus takes this one. And why I think that is that not only is Annihilus a very scary motherfucker anyway, but also the fact that he's one of the most feared beings across the Marvel multiverse. And whenever anyone confronts Annihilus, they always tremble in fear because of how powerful he is, as well as how ruthless Annihilus really is. And if you're someone that even Thanos is afraid of, then I think that you have a very good shot in being a Yellow Lantern. Now we get to the Green Lanterns, in which represents willpower, and in my mind I think that Hawkeye would make a fine addition as a Green Lantern. And why I think Hawkeye would make a good Green Lantern is the fact that he's just an ordinary guy with a bow and arrow, and yet he fights among characters who are way beyond his league, such as Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and a bunch of other characters. And despite how Hawkeye is pretty much outclassed in near enough every aspect, Hawkeye still comes around fighting, and at the end of the day I think that he has a stronger willpower than most characters in the Marvel universe. Next we get to the Blue Lanterns, in which represents hope. And in my opinion, I think that Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel takes the cake. And why I think Captain Marvel would make a good Blue Lantern is the fact that she is a natural leader. Not only has she led the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D., but also S.W.O.R.D. Not to mention that Captain Marvel is the flagship character in terms of female empowerment. And Carol Danvers is the sole reason as to why Kamala Khan became a superhero in the first place. And that right here just proves how much of a good Blue Lantern Captain Marvel would really be. Next we have the Indigo Lanterns, in which represents compassion. And in my opinion, I think that Vision would make a very good inclusion, because the Vision really embraces life and always tries his very hardest to be a good person and not to be violent. Plus Vision is one of these characters who always tries to find a way in solving a problem without getting physical. And not only does Vision have pity for humans, but also towards his creator Ultron as well. Now we get to the Violet Lanterns, in which represents love, and although it's a very difficult choice, ultimately I went with Rogue. And why I picked Rogue is because she always expresses her love towards not only her teammates but also her students as well. And although she can't touch people, she still tries to express her love any way, shape or form that she can. Now again, it was quite difficult to think of, but I think that this is a pretty interesting dynamic for a Violet Lantern. Now we get to the Black Lanterns, in which represents death. And clear as day, you really have to go for Hela, because it's in her name that she is the goddess of the dead. She can kill people within the snap of her fingers, and she can steal souls, and not to mention can control zombies, and use undead-like entities as her own servants. And in my mind, Hela takes the cake as the perfect Black Lantern. And lastly, we get to the White Lanterns, in which represents life. And as crazy as this sounds, I am ultimately gonna go for Deadpool. And let me repeat myself, I picked Deadpool as the White Lantern. And why I picked Deadpool is because that he is immortal and that he can never die. But this goes beyond that reasoning. As a matter of fact, Deadpool perfectly embodies a White Lantern. And the whole point of being a White Lantern is the fact that you're meant to embody all sides of the spectrum in order to be a White Lantern. Deadpool fits into rage because he can always be pissed off and is also very violent. He also blends into greed because he always wants everything for himself. Deadpool also fits into fear because everyone is afraid of him, not to mention that Deadpool fits into willpower because despite how everyone gives him crap, he always tries his very best to do the right thing. Deadpool also blends into hope because he always tries to inspire people whenever they are at the lowest of the low. He also has compassion because he really cares about the Apocalypse clone Evan, and in a weird sense, Deadpool has been shown to be capable of expressing his love throughout the years. Because of all these reasons, this is why I think that Deadpool is the perfect White Lantern, despite how bizarre that really sounds, but when you really think about it, it makes all the sense in the world. So do you agree with any of my choices, and who would you have for different lanterns? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video, please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.